Hi friends, it's Em and welcome back to my channel. You'll notice if you're a fan of the channel that August's video didn't exist, and that is because my camera filmed everything sideways for whatever reason, and like half of it wasn't on there. It was irreparable, let's just put it that way. But we are back for a September plan with me, and I am very excited. I am using these colors of calligraphs as well as a bunch of washi and stickers from Marigo Nasuli, and we are going a Dutch door style. Now, I will warn you in advance that I'm using some like scalloped scissors, and if I, yeah, right, Stitch, I know. If I knew then what I know now, before cutting with the scalloped scissors, I would put the washi on the other side. So right now you're seeing me put it only on one side of the paper. I would put it on the other side as well, because you can't really like cut it again. It's very weird. I think it might be that my like the scallops on these are really small, or that like just cutting the washi tape by itself versus cutting the washi tape on paper is sort of like the big difference, but I don't really know. However, I really do love this color combo. I'm using washi from Marigo Nasuli as well as Laurel Denise, and just some random sort of purple holographic washi that I got from Scotch. I really like them all together. I'm very happy. I know that, as I was making this, it was August and then it was September, and the colors of this feel kind of wintry, definitely, rather than fall. But I see the little witches, and it was perfect for the Magical Readathon, which is going on in September. So I thought, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go for it. That's what we're doing. So that's what we're doing. So enjoy a number of just like little cutting montages as we go. This month I have a number of spreads, but they're definitely a lot smaller. I'm doing buddy reads, spending tracker, NetGalley tracker, which I have been doing so good on. I'm like, toot toot. I'm pretty chuffed. Then book mail, things that I read from my physical TBR, because that's one of my big goals. Is like I have basically an entire full bookcase of books to read, and I just want to read them. I just want to like get things off that shelf. And then my personal favorite, my SepTBR. And of course, like I mentioned before, a spread devoted purely to the Magical Readathon, which may overlap with my TBR a little bit. I'm not entirely sure yet. I'm not gonna, I've already read some of the books that are on my September TBR, which it just happens sometimes. Barely read anything that's on my August TBR, let me tell you that. So let's dive into the books that I want to read in September, and then maybe we can cross-reference them a little bit with the books or the prompts that I'm going to be fulfilling for the Magical Readathon. So first up is Accomplice to the Villain. I have read this book. I finished it already. I do think it suffers from like middle book syndrome a little bit. I gave it 4 stars. I did enjoy it, but a lot of it was set up for the next book, and I'm hoping that the next book is the finale. We'll see. I can't know. I don't know what's in Hannah's little brain. Then we have Spread Me by Sarah Gailey, which is a horror novella, and I think it's about some kind of like parasitic entity. I could read the blurb. I should read the blurb, but I didn't. We also have The Princess and the PI by Nikki Payne. I love her. Her books are generally really funny, really hard-hitting, and I'm excited for like kind of a detective, private eye romance. But of course, there's got to be some mystery thrown into the mix, and I cannot wait. I'm very excited. Then, Four Ruined Realms. So that is by, I believe, Mai Corland. It's the sequel to Five Broken Blades. The alliteration kills me every time. I'm expecting this book to have even more political intrigue than the first. I'm hoping that there are still sort of heist elements and found family elements in it, but I have no idea where the story is going. In terms of a little cozy fantasy, I'm going to be reading The Keeper of Magical Things. So I believe this is going to be set in the same world as The Teller of Small Fortunes, which was it's just like an uplifting, cozy fantasy, a little bit of romance, lots of humor, and I'm excited. It was just like a delight, the first book, and so I'm hoping that this is sort of in that vein as well. Now, my reads are all over the board, of course. So next we go the complete polar opposite, and we go for Tourist Season by Brynne Weaver. So I'm assuming that this is going to be a little bit of maybe a dark romance, definitely some thriller, horror elements. And, you know, if it's not a Brynne Weaver book, if she doesn't make me sort of gag at a food, because if you know, you know. And then, of course, you know, it wouldn't be Halloween if I wasn't thinking about Christmas. So I have Good Spirits by V.K. Borison. I've had this on my NetGalley shelf for a very long time, and I didn't want to read it because I know that it's going to be so seasonal. And I was like, okay, well, it's March. I don't want to be thinking about Christmas. But my brain said September was fine to start. So this is a human and a ghost, as far as I know. And it's a little bit sort of Dickensian, where it's like the ghost of Christmas past or the ghost of Christmas future, one of those ones, I think. And I have missed her writing ever since Love Light Farms ended, and then earlier in the year I read First Time Caller, which was phenomenal, and I cannot wait. I've been waiting so long, I've been being so patient, and I'm not waiting anymore. I'm going to read the book. And I'm also checking out Not Quite Dead Yet, which is Holly Jackson's new book. I don't think that this is YA. It might be, it very well could be, but I think that this is her first adult thriller, and I'm excited for her. I hope that, like, we get to go a little bit darker, and, you know, I feel like she's focused a lot on younger characters, and I want to see a little more maturity in her writing and in the protagonists. I'm very excited for that. That's definitely going to be a buddy read, I believe. And then I heard so many things, all good things, about The Entanglement of Rival Wizards by Sarah Rosh. She wrote the Go Luck Yourself book, like lots of sort of seasonal holiday and not like traditional holiday books. And so I was like, well, I like wizards. I like rivals. Well, we'll see. We're going to check this out. And I also snagged an audiobook copy of The Ruling Class by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. When I tell you, the hold that the Naturals series had over me when I was in grad school, and then the Inheritance Game series, and now she is like republishing one of her older series with new titles and things like that. I cannot wait. It's definitely going to be like a little YA mystery thriller, and I'm here for it. I just like her writing style. It reads so fast. Her plots are really fun, and I can't wait. I really can't wait. This is definitely a month of like it's cozy, but it's also romantic, but it's also thrilling and paranormal. So I'm also going to be reading The Devil She Knows by Alexandria Bellafleur. And as far as I know, this is paranormal. I think it might be like an actual devil, which would be super fun. And I don't believe that this one is sapphic. I wish it was. If it is, I will be very happy. But that's sort of definitely going to be paranormal romance vibes. In sort of more urban fantasy, darker fantasy, I'm going to be checking out Thief of Night by Holly Black, I believe Black. Her first book was Book of Night, ended on a horrific cliffhanger, if I recall. And I liked it. It was more sort of adult writing style. I liked the beats, and I'm hoping that, maybe I'll reread my review for Thief of Night, or Book of Night, to sort of refresh myself on where things were, but I'm excited. Then we have Girl Dinner by Olivia Blake. I just can't quit her. I cannot quit her. I have no idea what it's about. I'm hoping that there's, oh God, it's gonna sound so terrible. I'm hoping that there's cannibalism. That's just the vibe that I got from it. Couldn't tell you what it's about. That's very much a recurring theme in my life. And then also on my list is The Golden Boy's Guide to Bipolar by Sonora Reyes. This is the sequel to The Lesbiana's Guide to Catholic School, focusing on her brother. And I got so into this series, and I can't wait. And then finally, rounding it out, we have Rewitched, which I think is just going to be cozy, witchy romance. I'm ready for it. There's the sequel just came out. I don't remember what it's called, but it has like an orange and a pink cover, and there's a witch on it. But let's move on to the Magical Readathon. So this is a continuation of the sort of class agenda that I did earlier in the year. I now understand why so many people were like, you didn't leave enough room on my initial spread, because I have 7 books that I have to read for this fall semester. I am doing the Rift Architect path for my character Ciela Tayar, and she is going to be taking some really fun classes this fall. So we have Inscription, and the 2 classes that I have to take for that are the Magic of Primes, which is prime number of letters in the title. So prime numbers 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, and then after that 17, sort of getting up there in the numbers. I'm betting that some of these could work, but I would definitely need to add them up. Then for archiving, I need to have a vertical spine title. So the thing about that is that I'm not going to be able to know for the arcs if what the spine is going to look like. So that's going to have to be a new release or backlist title. And I'll have to check out, what I have on my TBR. For spells and incantations, I had Charm Luck. So for this one, you have to roll a die, and then based on the d6, the die that you roll, that number is how many hundreds of pages you have to read. So this one I rolled a 3, so it's between 300 and 400, so like 300 to 399 pages. Good news, that's like a normal romance novel. And then there's Current Spell Trends. So that's a book released in 2025. That'll be easy because of all, the arcs. And Incantation Capture Moment. So that's an illustrated cover. And so, Devil She Knows would work for that really easily. Good Spirits would work for that. And then we move on to Conjuration. So this one's a little funky. So we have Conjuring Circles. So that's a circle on the cover. I do think that Spread Me could maybe work for that. It's kind of like a circle and then there's like tentacles coming out of it. But we might want to find a little more direct circles. And then there's Borrowing Spells. So borrow from another TBR. So one book that I could do for this, my friend Dan has been trying to get me to read The Ebony Gate for a very long time. I could borrow this for that. And I definitely think that, this spread looks a little blank. So I think throughout the month, I might come in and add more little book stickers or some of the fun ephemera, like just like the little moons and stars and stuff. But overall, I'm really happy with how this setup turned out. So go ahead and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos. Comment down below what you're excited to read in September, or if you're interested in any of the books that I was talking about. And as always, happy planning.